Imagine a father with two sons. Not just any father, but a really wealthy man with a huge estate and a thriving family business. He loved both his sons deeply, but they were as different as night and day. The older son was dependable, a hard worker, always by his father's side, learning the ropes of the business. He was the kind of son you could always count on. Then there was the younger one. He had a restless spirit, a thirst for adventure. He saw the world outside the town as a giant, glittering playground, and he felt cooped up. One day, he went to his father with a bold, and honestly, a pretty shocking request. He said, "Dad, I want my share of the inheritance now." Now, in their culture, this was a huge deal. It was like saying, "Dad, I wish you were already gone." It was deeply disrespectful, but the father, he did something extraordinary. He didn't argue. He didn't lecture. He saw the look in his son's eyes, this desperate need to be free. And with a heavy heart, he agreed. He liquidated assets, divided the property, and gave the younger son his half, a massive fortune. The son couldn't pack his bags fast enough. He took off for a distant city, a place buzzing with excitement and endless parties. He lived like a rock star. He bought expensive things, threw lavish parties, and surrounded himself with people who were only interested in his money. He didn't think about tomorrow. The cash just flowed and flowed until one day. It didn't. It was all gone, every last penny, as if things couldn't get any worse. A severe economic crisis hit the region, a famine. There were no jobs, no food. The young man, who had once lived in luxury, was now desperate. His friends vanished overnight. He was starving. He finally found a job, the most humiliating one he could imagine, feeding pigs for a local farmer. He was so hungry he found himself staring at the slop the pigs were eating, wishing he could have some. That was his rock bottom. In the mud, smelling of pigs, with his stomach aching, he finally came to his senses. He thought, "What am I doing? Back home, even my father's hired workers have more than enough food to eat, and here I am, about to starve to death." In that moment of clarity, a sliver of hope sparked. He made a decision. "I'll go back to my father," he thought. "I'll tell him, 'Father, I've messed up. I've sinned against heaven and against you. I'm not worthy to be called your son anymore. Just treat me like one of your hired hands." He rehearsed the speech in his head as he began the long, humbling journey home. He didn't expect a welcome. He just hoped for a job, for a crust of bread. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him. Imagine this old man, maybe sitting on his porch every single day, just watching the horizon, hoping. His heart filled with compassion. He didn't wait. He didn't hesitate. He gathered his robes and he ran. He ran to his boy, his dirty, broken, shamefaced boy. And he threw his arms around him and kissed him. The son started his rehearsed speech, "Father, I have sinned. I'm not worthy." But his father wasn't listening to that part. He was shouting to his servants, "Quick, bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. And get the fattened calf. We're going to have a feast and celebrate." Because this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. The party started, music playing, people celebrating. But the older son was out in the fields working. When he came home and heard the noise, he asked the servant what was going on. "Your brother has come home," the servant said, "and your father is throwing a huge party for him." Anger flared up in the older son. He refused to go inside. His father came out to plead with him. "Look," the son said, his voice full of bitterness, "all these years I've been slaving for you. I never disobeyed your orders. Yet you never even gave me a small goat to celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours comes home, who has squandered your property with wild living, you killed a fattened calf for him." The father's response was so gentle. He said, "My son, you are always with me, and everything I have is yours. But we had to celebrate. We had to be glad, because this brother of yours was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. He wasn't choosing one son over the other. His heart was big enough for both. He was celebrating the return of the lost, and reminding the faithful one that he was and always had been cherished. A beautiful picture of forgiveness and a love that never, ever gives up If you find this story interesting and valuable, and you would like to receive notification whenever more of this type of story are being posted, kindly subscribe, share, and comment below. Thanks for watching.